Testing 1, 2, 3. All right, here we are playing my favorite online addictive game, which is Free Cell. So it's amazing how much time, energy, and well, not expense because it's free, but I mean just the cost in time that this silly little game can cost me. I don't know about you, but I can spend a heck of a lot of time fooling around with this. Now, this happens to be the one that the game that I use the most, but I mean, there's all sorts of different games out there that I know people get stuck on very, very much. So let's take a look at what we might consider spending our time on instead and still get the kick that we get from doing online and offline time wasting games like this. So let's check it out. Well, hi again. So yeah, this week's episode is all about taking those time wasters that a lot of us have. Now, you might be the exception, but I have to own up to the fact that there are times when I can spend more time than I should on dumb things like Free Cell. So it's all about why do we do that in the first place. And the reason that we like these Free Cell type games and solitaire and pretty much any kind of online type game that gets our mind off what we probably really should be focusing on is because when we play these kind of games, it releases a very, very powerful chemical into our brain, and that is into our body, and that is a chemical called dopamine. And dopamine is one of the most powerful mood enhancers there is. In fact, it kicks butt on many artificial drugs like cocaine and things like that. So every time we play a game, so in my case, if it's Free Cell or solitaire or whatever, it gives you a little shot of dopamine if you succeed at that game. And that's why you play it over again and you play it again and you go back to it when you're doing something you're really not having that much fun with, or you really want to kind of procrastinate on. The challenge is subconsciously you want a little shot of that dopamine. So the question is, how can we use that to our advantage? How can we put that to work for us instead of against us? And the first time, I have to give credit where credit is due, the first time I heard about an idea of how to turn the grind into a game was from our good friend Steve Chandler, which I hope you can see his picture fairly well there. Steve Chandler, who's spoken several times at fast track events and who I've gotten to know a bit over the years, and very, very astute fellow. He talks about turning these drudgery type things into a game. So the example he uses is if, let's say, you've got a whole bunch of emails to respond to, or in my case, perhaps you've got an email box that's just overflowing with old emails that I haven't gotten around to deleting because I thought, well, maybe someday, somehow, somewhere, I might need that email again, which reality is no, that doesn't happen. So let's say in this case we've got this little grid here set up, and this represents, each box represents 10 emails either to respond to or to delete. So in my case, this would be, each box would represent 100 emails that I need to delete out of my inbox. So turn it into a game. So in my case, I look at this and go, oh crap, I really don't want to have to deal with that. I'd rather not do it. I'd rather play Free Cell instead. Okay, well, got to get out of that and see how I can turn the drudgery into a game. So what Steve Chandler recommends, and also as just what it reminded me about this, is I was just reading this month's issue of Success magazine, and the publisher there, Darren Hardy, has a whole article on this idea as well. So turn it into a game. So in this case, you could create a chart, divvy it all up, and then go square by square. So if I delete 100 old emails that I don't need anymore, for each 100 that I delete, I get to fill in one of these squares. Now, this might seem very, very childish and immature and whatever, but basically it's the same idea as playing a game. So when I finish one little thing, I get to fill in a square. I finish and delete another 100 emails, I get to fill in the next square, and so on and so on and so on. And here's the thing, each time I fill in a square, it's like playing a Free Cell game. It gives a little shot of dopamine to the brain. And you don't just human nature. We don't like to see an unfilled chart. So we're going to keep going until we get this sucker filled up. Might not be all in one day, might be over a series of days or a week or whatever, but our goal becomes to fill in the chart. So that is a way to turn drudgery into a game. Give yourself a little bit of a shot of dopamine. And you talk about I was just out in Winnipeg recently, and young Stefan Arnio, a very sharp fellow, and he's got a saying, it's called respect the grind. And he's talking about the grind of learning, taking your licks, getting your experience as a real estate investor. Well, that's true. So this is a way to respect the grind and make the grind a little bit more fun. So this was an example of, let's say we had to deal with emails. It could be the same idea if you want to be making phone calls to potential investors. So let's say you've got 4 potential investors that you want to be talking to. So you make a little chart there, divide it in 4, and each time you make a call, no matter if they say yes or no or whatever, each time you do the action, you get to fill in one of those blocks. That's the idea. So turn it into a game. There's all sorts of different ways. It doesn't have to be with charts. You can use your imagination, use your creativity, come up with what works for you. And this is a way to turn those things that you really want to procrastinate around on into something that you're looking. I won't say it'll be a barrel of fun, but it'll be a lot more fun than trying to do it and just kind of power through it. So give that a try. Take a look at what is it that you should be doing. Could be exercise, like in my case. Create a way to track it, chart it, check something off, put a big X through something, or check mark something off. Each time that you do it, it makes you feel a lot better, gives you that little shot of dopamine, and encourages you to keep going with it. All right, so that's the lesson I want to share with you this week in episode 201 of Canadian Profits TV. Just a reminder, next Tuesday, which is June the 23rd, we're having that online web training event with Tim Collins, very, very astute real estate investor, now based in Nanaimo, has a ton of student rental properties out in Ontario. He's going to be taking us through the whole ins and outs of becoming a student rental investor. I have to say, when I first heard about that, I was a little nervous about it because I used to be a student and I used to be a renter, and I wasn't a good one. So that memory kind of stuck in my mind. However, Tim's very, very sharp. He's got that all systematized. He avoids bringing on guys like me, or guys like I was when I was a university student, and instead finding the right people and setting up the systems to have a very, very profitable student rental business. Now, the beautiful thing about student rentals is this is a way to have long-term buy and hold single-family homes that are generating massive cash flow, $1,000 and up a month per house. And how he is able to do this long distance by having property managers on site doing the day-to-day stuff for him. So anyhow, if you're at all interested in single-family homes, if you've got a few in your portfolio already, if you're thinking about getting into real estate investing, why not check out this no-cost web training event? Just click on the link below to get yourself registered. We've already got several hundred people registered for the call. I think our maximum limit's 500, so get a spot while the getting's good. All right, I'm off tomorrow to San Jose, California for some personal development training stuff. Looking forward to that. Probably have all sorts of great ideas to share with you on our upcoming episodes of Canadian Profits TV. Have a great week. Talk to you soon. Take care.